Good morning, beloveds. I woke up this morning and I struggled to get out of bed because my cat was laying on me and I was just like, I don't want to move. But I got up and I did go to the park, and my knee did not cooperate in the park today, but I did get one good whole loop in, and I think my GPS may be weird, or maybe it's finally working right, because it said I did over 2 miles in the park, and I'm like, but the loop's only a mile and not quite a mile and 3/4. So I don't know what the GPS was doing this morning. I may have gotten credit for, but that's okay, whatever. And the squirrels are just not having it. I'm thinking it's because the acorns are dropping. And so all the oak trees are dropping their acorns. So the squirrels are like, I don't need your peanuts. Although there was one that absolutely insisted on a second peanut. And so Tom gave him a second peanut and he picked it up and carried it off. And I'm just like, it's always impressive to watch them do that. And we did see a couple of blue jays, but that's it, and I did not get a picture. The first one was snatch and grab. And the second one, I got him flying out of the screen, but it's one of those bird in flight pictures. So, although I did get a couple of interesting pictures of the squirrels today. So, we'll see. Okay. It is October 21st. Our title is Thou Shalt Let Go and Let God Do It. And our author is Georgiana Tree West. This is from Prosperity's 10 Commandments from 1946, and she is from Unity. Which is funny because we're straightening up, and my husband found this book, How to Speak Unity. So, which I had forgotten I had. Who wrote that? Oh, Temple Hayes. I know that name. Okay. Jesse's referenced her. Okay. October 21st. Thou shalt let go and let God do it. We find many instances in the New Testament showing how Jesus conformed to the idea of this commandment in making his great demonstrations. He would go apart to pray, and after such a period of okay, now the hope is I don't start coughing. Okay. Sorry, it's ragweed season. And I was just outside for about an hour. Okay. Oh. Okay, he would go apart to pray, and after such a period of infilling, he would move through a period of intense activity of teaching and healing then. He would go apart to rest a while. His resting period would turn to be followed by another cycle of work. In these periods of activity, we have many instances of his acknowledging his heavenly Father in prayer before performing some miracle of healing that we would call a demonstration. From Jesus, we get the perfect model of the way to make a demonstration. Pray, work, rest, and then repeat the cycle. And that's it. And I think it's important that she points out the cycle. She points out the cycle that Jesus would rest, because we don't do enough of that. We don't do enough of that. And when it comes to, because I'm a Science of Mind minister, that is the organization that I belong to, and we are closely linked to Unity. The Fillmores, who are the founders of Unity, and Ernest Holmes were both taught by Emma Curtis Hopkins. And Emma Curtis Hopkins was taught by Mary Baker Eddy, which is Christian Science, and Mary Baker Eddy was taught by Phineas Quimby. The genealogy is really interesting. Now, everybody acknowledges everybody except for Mary Baker Eddy does not acknowledge that she was taught by Phineas Quimby, but Mary Baker Eddy is a little odd. But she's an interesting read, so I suggest her to you. I have several of Quimby's. I have the 2 volumes of Quimby's, and I think I have a book that somebody wrote about Quimby. He had tuberculosis, and he said there's got to be a better way to do this. And so he's part of where New Thought came, the New Thought that came out of New England came from. And then you wrap in Emerson and another poet that's part of New Thought, and that's where you get our Genesis. That's where you get, because from Quimby where we do the healing, where the healing part of us came from, and then from poets is where the spiritual and ethical part came from. It's like we took the best and went, okay, let's do this. And Ernest Holmes, what his was, he read everything he could get his hands on, but one of the things that he did was he went back and he looked at the New Testament, and he looked at the way Jesus prayed. And so that's what Georgiana's talking about today. She's looking at the way Jesus worked. So with Ernest, he said, well, let's look at the way Jesus prayed, and let's go back and do that, which is why we have the 5 steps of treatment. Jesus recognized that there was one power. He unified with that power by saying, I and the Father are one. That's exactly what he said. There's numerous times when he said, I and the Father are one. I and God are one. I and Spirit are one. And then he stated whatever it was that he was going to state. Lazarus come out of the tomb. And then he was grateful. And then he let it go. And that's what she's talking about. It's like, look. So she's talking about his cycle of where he would go and he would pray. And then he would go and he would do this flurry of teaching and work and healing. And then he would go and rest for a while. And he'd pray some more while he was resting. And then he would come back and do some more work. And that was his cycle. And it's a very important cycle to remember. It's like rest, pray, work, repeat. Rest, pray, work, and repeat. And so you take those periods where you are resting, you take those periods where you are actively praying, and you do you have those periods where you work. You do the work after the prayer. It's like, okay, so I have stated my intentions, and now I'm going to go do the work. I'm going to teach. I'm going to work. I'm going to follow the guidance that I asked for in the prayer to get me whatever it is that I asked for in the treatment, in the prayer. And so she's pointing out, you got to let go and let God do it. It's like, set your prayer in motion, set your intention in motion, and then go and do the work. And when we say the work, capital T, capital W, it's go and live your life. Go and do the things that need to be done in your life. And then while you're doing that, be open to the guidance that will get you to what it is that you have stated that you want. And what will happen is while you are doing your teaching work and your healing work and your, be it that you're healing yourself or supporting others in their healing journey, you will come to the recognition that other people will come up to you and they will say things, and you're like, oh, well, that's an interesting piece of information. Let me take that into, and oh, that's you'll see something and go, oh, that's something I need to follow up on because it relates to what I have been treating for. And that's the way this works. It's like you do your treatments and then you get on with your life and you let God do the rest. I think that's what I guess we are a little bit of an instant gratification. It's like, okay, I've treated and now it has to happen. Okay. Yeah. But the very definition of patience is the attitude you take while you do other things, while you wait for something to happen. That's why I've started using the cake bake motto. It's like when you bake a cake, once you put it in the oven, there's nothing else for you to do for the cake. You've got to let the oven do its work, right? So you go do other things. You clean up from making the cake. You make icing for the cake. Or you go and do something completely different. Maybe you need to go make your bed, or maybe you need to fold clothes or do laundry, or maybe you go and sit down and read a good book, or, watch a movie. Movie might be pushing it because, how long does a cake take to bake? And you let the oven do its work. Well, that's the same thing with God. It's like once you treat I still am going to lean back into the two ladies that we've had the last 2 days, Mildred and I forget who yesterday was, where they talk about demonstration. Visualize. Take a minute to visualize. Because while you're sitting there waiting for the cake to bake, you're visualizing that cake. You're visualizing that cake completely done. It's the same thing with your treatment. Visualize the completed process. Jesse says when you're starting when you're starting a new work, i.e. his example is a hardware store. Don't visualize the grand opening of the hardware store. Visualize 5 years down with the store full of customers and busy and full of product and, and busy, and employees busy. Don't visualize the grand opening. Visualize 5 years down the line. And that's so since we're talking about demonstration, yeah, visualize it. Visualize it. Complete it. Visualize and take a few minutes every day to do that. But don't keep uprooting it. So, all right. I guess October is demonstration because we've had like 3 or 4 in a row here. Yesterday was Claudine Whitaker. Okay, so thou shalt let go and let God do it is the commandment that she is demonstrating how Jesus conformed to it. He would go apart and pray after such a period of infilling, he would move through a period of intense activity of teaching and healing. Then he would go apart to rest for a while. His resting period would then turn to be followed by another cycle of work. In these periods of activity, we have many instances of Jesus acknowledging his connection to spirit in prayer before performing a miracle. Yep. That's like I said, that's why Ernest Holmes went, Jesus prays in a very specific way. Maybe we would be more successful if we followed his model. And that's it's like, whatever else you can say about science of mind, that's one of our core principles, one of our core tenets is Ernest said, you know what? Jesus prays in a really specific way. Why don't we try that? So, and it works really well. Okay. So this last line from Jesus, we get the perfect model of the way to make a demonstration. Pray, work, rest, then repeat the cycle. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is exactly that. Pray, work, rest. Repeat the cycle. No matter what it is, we always go to God first. Whether it's good or we need help, we go to God first. And then we go and do the work. Whatever it is, the work that we have prayed, we follow it up with that work. It's like, what have we got to do? What is our part to play in doing our work? And then we rest. And we let God take it from there. And so it's rinse, recycle, and repeat. Rinse, wash. Oh, it's wash, rinse, repeat. Pray, work, rest. If Jesus can do it, you can do it. All right. That's the mission today. And one of the parts of that is to rest. And so that's the second part of the mission, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. What I'm talking about is the spiritual practice of self-care. Okay. It is extremely important if you live a life of service that you take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. It's just not possible. Therefore, you got to take care of yourself. And self-care looks like a lot of different things. In my case, today I did the one loop in the park and said, nope, I'm going home. My knee has had enough. I'm not doing anymore. It looks like taking a deep breath before you speak. It looks like taking a nap. It looks like taking the walk in the first place. It looks like, saying no and remembering that no is a complete sentence. But it also looks like saying yes to something that pushes you a little out of your comfort zone. So there are all these amazing ways to take care of yourself. And I say it every day. You are your own best test subject. You get immediate feedback. But I also want you to create a habit. I want you to create a first response. I want you to be able to have such a well-worn path to the source of your own being, to the source of infinite love, infinite kindness, infinite compassion, that no matter what happens, you can respond to anyone lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. And that does take practice. Honestly, it's our default setting, but we've been trained out of it. So go back and practice. But the other reason why I say it every day, why it's so important to me to say it every day, is you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. That's why I want you to practice on yourself. Okay? You deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. I cannot say it enough. I will never stop saying it. But I'm also going to remind you, among the other things of practicing, self-care, to eat dessert first. And yes, it's funny. And yes, I do mean it lighthearted and a joke. But I also mean it from the simple standpoint of your life is a special occasion. Treat it as such. Don't save the good stuff. I do say eat dessert. That chocolate is the first step to fixing anything, because I believe that. But, if you don't like chocolate, I want you to go out of your way to make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. Use the fancy dishware, wear the fancy clothes, go do the thing, whatever the thing is that, you've been putting off. Go do it. And do it more often. I got to go to dinner with, we had a member of our center who lives a ways away. She's one of our virtual members, in town. And I was late for that dinner, but I got there. And it was fun, and it's wonderful to hug her in person. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. Make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. All right. I'm also going to remind you that joy is a quality of God. Therefore, joy is a quality of you, because you're made of God, right? Make room for joy in your life. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It does not matter what is going on in your life. You still deserve joy. Make room for it. All right. The rest of the suggestions are the basic ones of do something to engage your mind and your body, unless today is your day of rest, because we've all got to have one. I did go to the park today, but the rest of my day is my day of rest. I'm gonna cuddle with my cats. I'm gonna have a catter day. I'm going to remind you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. You just saw me do that. Your brain works better, your body works better, and your skin looks better when you are well hydrated. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And then get that early in your day bright light. We were in the park not too long after the sun came up, so we got that. And that park is fairly shady, so I'm not in the sun all the time. Otherwise, I'd have to wear sunscreen. But I did get plenty of that 7 to 9, I worked on my vitamin D. I worked on my circadian rhythm. I got that early in my day, bright light. So I encourage you to do that. Take care of your, get that 5 to 10 minutes of bright light in that. If you want sunlight, 7 to 9 in the morning. If you get up before the sun or well after it, artificial light will work too. All right. Where was I? I think I'm good. So I'm at the point where I can remind you to of the Ernest Holmes quote, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. What does he mean by that? It's all God. It's all God. But it's also a reminder that heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. It is not a place that you have to get to, but can be any place you are. That's why I like that Ernest Holmes quote so much, because it reminds us that once we learn that to create that state of mind, once we learn to create that state of consciousness, which we come pre-installed with, it's part of the Christ consciousness, and we all come pre-installed with it, even though every religion calls it something different. We can create that place. We can create heaven where we are. It's a state of grace because it's built into who you are, and it's a superpower because nobody can take it away from you. Once you learn to create heaven where you are, I mean, you have the power to change your life. And then you have the power to hold your lamp up and watch other people change theirs. It's that simple. It's that simple. You can't walk their path for them, but you can hold your lamp up. And that's what my goal is when I do these things. My goal is simply to hold my lamp up and to remind you, heaven is within you. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. There you are. All right. I think I'm at the social media part. Oh, no, I'm going to remind you, open the windows of your soul, look for the good and praise it. Emma's advice. That's why she's called the teacher of teachers. Look for the good and praise it. Count your blessings. Science will tell you the best way to create the gratitude, random acts of kindness, and volunteer work are the best ways to change a grumpy mood. So try it. You might like it. And then try it a little more often. Okay. I'm going to do the social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I'm on. I commend to you on the Facebook pages, the both Facebook pages and both YouTube channels, there are hours of content. Whatever you need, we probably have something. So just go take a look. Go take a look. I've been encouraging people to go back to the Running Rev Ryan and look at my early stuff and compare it to the stuff that I do now and tell me how much I've grown. Or if you don't think I have, tell me, well, you're still, yeah, okay. You know what I mean. All right. And if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the constant contact. And it is Saturday, so we'll have a service for you tomorrow. And we have like I said, we have a couple of people in town. So if you want to throw a hug on somebody that you haven't met in person, but you've met in the Zooms, come on to the center tomorrow. All right. Yeah, the hot links are hot in the email. Click here now, take you right to the person you want or to the information you want. Okay. I'm getting myself off track. So I just probably need to wrap this up and get on with my Catterday. Mostly because I'm looking at the boxes of clothes that I got to go through. There's a lot. Yeah. I've been cleaning out my closets. It's a good thing. All right. Where was I? Oh, I get to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an amazing day, an awesome day, a let go day, a let God do it day, a pray, work, rest day, a repeat the cycle day, a practice your demonstration day, a know who you are day, a loving day, a kind day, a compassionate day, a keep cool day, because it's back in the 90s again, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you're godly. Explore the truth of your being. Peel back the layers of who you have been told you are. By religion, by gender, by culture, by the education system, by society, by magazine covers, by talking heads on TV. Peel all of that back and get to know who God knows you to be. I can promise you that the person that God knows you to be is good, and the person that God knows you to be is cool. So peel it all away and get to know that person. And all of the rest of the stuff that I have said today will be a whole lot easier. All right. All right. Get to know, explore the truth of your being. All right, beloveds. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. We will have an amazing service for you tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.